There's a reason Harvard researchers quietly flew to a remote corner of Japan in 1972. And there's a reason their findings were never published in any major Western journal. Not because the data was bad, but because the implications were inconvenient. Too simple. Too powerful. Too at odds with a medical system built on pills, not breath. They found a ritual practiced by some of the longest living humans on Earth, Okinawan elders who routinely reached 100 with minds still sharp, hands still steady, and voices that carried the calm weight of a mountain. A ritual so subtle, you'd miss it, even if you were standing right next to them, but one that, according to the notes recovered decades later, could alter something far more important than lifespan. Oxygen efficiency, nervous system balance, inflammation pathways, even the markers of cellular aging. Stanford neuroscientists would go on to rediscover the mechanics of this ritual in the early 2000s. They framed it clinically. Sterile terms, vagus nerve stimulation, CO2 tolerance, neurogenesis. But the elders? They had another name for it. The breath of 5. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds hold, 5 seconds out. A simple geometric rhythm, repeated at dawn, that allegedly kept their internal fire burning slow and steady instead of erratic and consuming like ours. Some say the medical establishment tried to dismiss it. Others say they tried to suppress it. Because how do you monetize something that takes 30 seconds and no equipment? How do you sell what a centenarian can teach you for free? Yet here's the miraculous part. When modern labs accidentally tested a nearly identical breathing pattern on aging adults, they saw a spike in oxygen utilization, lowered inflammatory markers, and a measurable softening of the stress circuits that accelerate cognitive decline. Numbers that shocked even the researchers. If you've been feeling the slow dimming, energy thinning, focus fading, resilience cracking, you're about to learn why this forgotten practice might matter more now than at any point in history, and why your first 5-second inhale could begin the slow process of turning the lights back on. Aging never announces itself with a grand event. It slips in quietly, in the little moments you brush off, moments you tell yourself are normal. The moment you stand up and feel that tiny wave of dizziness. The moment you walk into a room and forget what you came for. The moment your fingers hesitate on a jar lid you used to open without thinking. Not dramatically, not suddenly, just a slow unraveling. You notice it when names stay on the tip of your tongue longer than they should, when stairs feel steeper, when mornings demand more effort than they once did. And underneath it all, a quiet worry forms. Is this the beginning of dependency? The world doesn't give you warnings about this part. No one tells you about the invisible micro-failures, oxygen dropping just a little lower in the bloodstream, inflammation simmering just a bit hotter, the nervous system stuck in a low-level stress loop that ages you from the inside out. And the cruel thing, you blame yourself. You think you're slipping, losing ground, getting old. But behind those frustrations is a biology running on outdated settings. Cells working harder for less energy, neurons firing slower, your body forgetting how to regulate itself the way it once did. It's like watching a city at night lose power block by block, one street light, then another, until whole neighborhoods grow dim. But what if those lights weren't burned out? What if they were simply starved of oxygen, of rhythm, of the signal that once kept them synchronized, Because what the Japanese elders understood, long before Western science caught up, is that decline isn't fate. It's feedback, and it can be rewritten. Here's the part Western science stumbled into without realizing they were rediscovering something ancient. When you breathe in a slow, deliberate rhythm, you're not just pulling air into your lungs, you're sending a precise signal through the vagus nerve, the long electrical highway that runs from the brainstem down through the organs. It's the switch between chaos and calm, between breakdown and repair. Harvard labs noticed that when this nerve receives a steady pattern, especially one built around controlled inhales, a brief pause, and a smooth release, the brain reacts instantly. Stress hormones drop, heart rate variability rises, blood flow to the prefrontal cortex increases. It's as if the brain says, "We're safe, we can rebuild." And then something remarkable happens, a burst of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it like fertilizer for neurons. When BDNF rises, old connections strengthen, new ones grow. The mental fog that feels like aging, often it's just those connections starving for activation. At the same time, another shift begins. CO2 levels steady. Cells become more efficient at pulling oxygen into the mitochondria, the tiny power plants that determine your energy, your clarity, your ability to stay steady on your feet. When they work better, everything works better. This is where the elders' wisdom becomes astonishing. They didn't talk about BDNF or mitochondria. They spoke in metaphors. Breath is instruction. Breath is memory. Breath teaches the body how to live. And they were right. Each slow cycle isn't just respiration. It's information, a kind of software update for your nervous system, a way of rewriting the inner code that controls aging speed. All of this leads to the technique itself, simple, structured, and more influential than it seems. Ready for it? Here's how the elders practiced it, and how modern physiology explains its power. Sit with your spine tall, but not strained. Imagine a thread gently lifting the crown of your head. Place one hand over your lower abdomen. This isn't decoration. It's to remind your body where the breath should move. Down, not up. And now the rhythm. Inhale for 5 seconds. Slow, silent, letting the belly expand like a small tide, rising. Hold for 5, not with tension. Just a moment of stillness where your cells can actually use the oxygen you've given them. Exhale for 5, smooth, unforced, as if releasing a thin stream of air through a straw. Repeat this for 10 rounds. Here's what's happening inside you with each cycle. During the inhale, the diaphragm drops. This creates space in the lungs and allows a richer saturation of oxygen. More oxygen means less panic signaling from the brainstem. Your heart no longer beats in defense. It begins to beat in balance. The hold is where the magic deepens. CO2 rises just slightly, enough to widen blood vessels and increase oxygen delivery to tissues that are often neglected with shallow breathing. Cells become more efficient. Mitochondria receive the fuel they've been missing. Energy stabilizes. Then the exhale triggers the vagus nerve like a soft cord. Longer exhalations have been shown to shift the body into repair mode, reducing inflammation, easing tension in the gut, and quieting the noise in the mind. 10 rounds of this rhythm can shift your entire physiology in under 2 minutes. Not dramatically, not explosively, but with a quiet precision that builds day after day, like planting a tree and watching the first leaf appear. Most people breathe like they're surviving. This pattern teaches the body to breathe like it's living. And that difference changes everything: mood, memory, stability, even the way your cells age. Now that you've learned the technique, there's one final thing you need to understand before you begin tonight. It's the reason this simple rhythm works better over time than almost anything you can buy. Here's the part the Okinawan elders repeated like a quiet law of nature. Consistency transforms biology, not force, not intensity, rhythm. The first time you try this breathing pattern, you'll feel a subtle shift, maybe a loosening in the chest, maybe a warmth behind the eyes, maybe just a calmer pulse. But what matters isn't that first shift. It's what happens when you return to it tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Because every session sends the same clear message through your nervous system. Repair is allowed. Bit by bit, the circuitry that has been running on stress and scarcity begins to reorganize. What was dim starts to brighten. What felt fragile grows more stable. This is why so many people quit before the real benefits appear. They don't realize they're rewriting patterns that took decades to form. Patterns of hurried breaths, rushed mornings, lives spent in quiet tension. But if you start today and stay with it, something deeper begins to take shape. You may notice steadier mornings, sharper recall, a kinder relationship with your own body. It's not magic, it's alignment. A return to the rhythm humans evolved with long before alarms and deadlines took it from us. And this is only the beginning. The breath is step one, the foundation. In the next part, we'll go into the companion technique the elders used at night, a method modern chronobiology now considers one of the most effective, drug-free ways to slow cellular aging while you sleep. Start the practice today. Come back tomorrow for part 2. Begin tonight, not later, not when things calm down. Your biology doesn't wait, and neither should you. Do 10 rounds of the 5-5-5 rhythm before bed. Let your system feel what real regulation is supposed to feel like. Let your cells remember the pattern they've been missing. Then return tomorrow. Because part 2 reveals the nighttime protocol, the one the elders said sealed the gains, and scientists now link to deeper sleep cycles, improved memory consolidation, and slower cellular wear. If the breath is the software update, the evening ritual is the reboot that locks it all in. Start today. Come back tomorrow. Your next step is already waiting.